So if you can get into the habit of saying to yourself, I'm going to remove myself, I'm going to step back as the gardener. My job is to provide great soil. My job is to add immense plant diversity, to add as many different plants that I can add to my garden that will survive and do well in my garden. And if I do all that, what happens is I'm going to have a break from my garden. I don't need to do anything in here. I haven't done anything in here for a very long time. You take some weeds that don't belong in here sometimes out, and that's about the extent of it. We spend too much time in the garden already, or we don't have enough time in the garden. Those are both very valid excuses to use the chaos system, this, growing in mass groupings. And you'll notice a difference right away is your plants will do better. The garden will feel more natural. It will feel a lot more comfortable for birds and butterflies and reptiles and all these animals to come into your garden. It's because you're mimicking nature. There are very few rows and columns in nature. It doesn't happen. So the world requires or needs gardeners to behave more like nature and to grow stuff in this really dense, completely covered type of soil scenario where you're regenerating your soil because the sun doesn't get at it and take away the energy from your soil. The plants are contributing back into the soil. How do you create a garden that is so powerful that it can look after itself? How do you create a garden that is so vigorous that it'll continuously feed you? How do you do that? I've learned a lot here in Ecuador, and I would call it the shotgun approach, where I just basically put as many seeds as I can into the ground. I put as many diverse plants as I can into the ground. I cover the earth completely. I let the plants fight it out on their own. This lemon tree is so full of fruits now, and it's because it's being squeezed. It's being forced to produce more flowers because it's in competition with everything that's around it. Growing and living together is such a powerful force. These plants, they will help each other to flourish and to do extremely well. So when you're doing this shotgun approach of having as much plant material as you can in the ground next to each other, working with each other, battling it out, it's a lot less work for you as a gardener. You don't have to do all this extensive work if your plants are your best employees. So this chaos gardening allows these plants to outperform themselves because they're so tied together with each other. This morning I cut a whole bunch of cuttings, and I cut as many as I could. Mora mora and other plants. I put into the ground so extensively. I made about 150 cuttings. I put them in the ground in random places in the bush, in the bottom part down below. And if I have a success rate of 5%, I'm okay with that. I'm not going to look after them. I'm going to basically account on the large number of cuttings to take root. And if you do that in your garden, where you're saying to yourself, I'm going to grow as much as I can, and I'm going to cover the earth, and I'm going to let the plants work together, it makes gardening so much easier. It's very interesting. Gardeners will set themselves these objectives or these goals that they want to reach in their garden. And a lot of times, this setting the parameters of what you're going to do in your garden might actually hurt you a lot. And what I mean by that is that you, as the gardener, should be open minded to new ways of gardening, forgetting about rows and columns, growing all your food mixed in with other plants, having fruit trees every 4 meters coming out of rocks, for example. This idea of growing a unified garden where everything is overcrowded and covering the earth and flourishing and doing well and working together is a very different type of gardening, and it takes a lot of getting used to. The secret to it is that you, as the gardener, you're trying to remove yourself from being responsible for your garden and having to spend all these endless hours looking after everything that is inside your garden. This chaos or this growing in competition is very powerful and very rewarding because your garden is so alive and so vigorous. Yeah, it's really funny. Gardeners have this idea that plants don't know what they're supposed to do, that nature doesn't know what it's supposed to do, that the gardener has to interfere so much that the gardener has a sense of control over their garden. What happens when you garden like that is you're really forcing yourself onto your garden, and you're sort of determining the end result of what's going to happen in your garden. And what really happens in that case is that you are fingerprinting your garden so much that your garden doesn't have this freedom to grow in such a lush and aggressive way. You're controlling everything. You don't have, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven apples over there, two apples, eight, nine, 10. Like there's like 10 different plants coming, strawberries here coming out of the wall. And they all work together. There's no fighting going on, there's no struggle going on. This is basically, I've got a little bit of dead growth here. There's a couple of dead leaves here. And that's it. Everything else is growing, and it'll grow like this for another 5 years. Yeah, I want to show you a little bit of an example of this diversity, working together, playing together, surviving together. This is one of 10 peach trees that I planted. So I have peach trees in the garden that are standing alone. They're about this high. This guy here, this peach tree, is in the middle of a clump of papyrus. It has a banana tree on this side. It has all kinds of ferns and other perennials underneath it. And there's another banana tree that's going to have bananas shortly. And this is doing way better than the ones that are standing alone in the garden. So that's sort of what I'm trying to refer to, is this idea that we have this fear of overcrowding, like that we have this idea that plants don't do well when they're overcrowded, but it is the exact opposite. But the problem is we never give our garden a chance to prove that to us. This way of gardening puts the least amount of pressure on your plants. They thrive, they do well, they understand that, hey, I'm competing with, the papyrus roots, I'm competing with the ferns. I got to improve myself. I got to be more competitive. I got to reach for the sunlight. I got to do all these things as a plant. The gardener comes and interferes with that harmony that's going on in the ground. It's not really in your favor, because you're creating so much additional work for yourself. If you want to start learning how to do this organic and chaotic gardening, do it like this. Start like this. You say to yourself, okay, I have a family of 4. I need to grow this much food in my garden. I need to do this much work to get to that amount of food that I would like to achieve. And the rest of the garden, I'm going to start incorporating fruit trees. I'm going to incorporate fruit shrubs. I'm going to get everything set up in such a way that I'm very self-sufficient, and my garden will provide me with, fruits and vegetables for the next 5, 6, 7, 10 years. The rest of my garden, I'm going to sort of allow it to do what it is supposed to do naturally. I'm going to provide the great soil. I'm going to provide the seeds, the diversity. I'm going to do all those things. That's my job as the gardener, is to provide that diverse material that the garden needs to really flourish and grow together. Life inviting garden that is so attractive to humans and to animals and insects and birds and reptiles, whatever it may be.